News is reporting it. We told you this was coming. Israel has admitted that they're hiring al-Qaeda terror groups to stage terror attacks inside Iran. And we've had the Brookings Institute and others say a false flag would be great to be blamed on Iran. We've had the Rand Corporation talking about it. And sure enough, Israel accuses Iran of bombings in Georgia and India, while Iran rejects the claims. The violence came as a result of comments by Israeli officials have raised concerns Israel might be preparing an imminent strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. The U.S. and other Western countries have been pressuring Israel to give sanctions more time. Whether Iran did this or not, it's all very, very suspect when the neocons and others are calling for false flag provocations. That we even have the head of national security, Mr. Clapper, putting out a policy report saying a provocation to blame on Iran would be useful. This from our own government that staged the events that led us to Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin, Operation Ajax, in '53 to overthrow Iran, staging terror attacks. And then, of course, Israel attacking the USS Liberty, to blame it on the Egyptians, and Israel bombing U.S. Hotels and movie theaters in Egypt, to blame it on Egypt. I mean, who knows what's really going on here? We'd be schmucks, to use a Yiddish term, if we just didn't look at Israel to be the possible culprit in these terror attacks. Doesn't mean it couldn't be Iran. We're not big fans of the authoritarian rule of the mullahs either. I'm kind of like the founding fathers. I don't trust government. I don't like government. I don't like any of these governments, and I don't believe a damn thing they say. Excuse the French. Okay, let me go ahead and continue here with the next report. Investigation. Media Matters conspires with White House to influence news. Tucker Carlson's Daily Caller came up with this information. That's like announcing that the sun is yellow and water is blue. But yes, it's true. George Soros and the White House, according to the documents they've gotten, completely run Media Matters, who poses as a nonpartisan media watchdog, but really is a group of anti-American scum, demonizing anybody who isn't for absolute total Sovietization and gun grabbing and every form of slavery you can imagine. A very nasty group whose memos got leaked a year ago that they plan to infiltrate alternative media and Fox News and destroy them from within. So I am pretty creeped out by these folks. And of course, you know right now that the reason you're seeing Obama worship coming out of News Corps, with Mike Huckabee saying Obama's a great Christian, good American, trying to take good care of us, is because Rupert Murdoch is basically being blackmailed. There have been criminal indictments of his staff and minions in England, more arrests over the weekend, 8 different staff of his different outfits, and there's open Justice Department investigation of Rupert Murdoch and his family that own News Corps. So that'll teach him to let Glenn Beck talk bad about, well, you know who. And it's not that I'm a fan of News Corps. They're big, fake, neocon globalist. But to have a Justice Department that ran fast and furious, a Justice Department caught paid off by big banks in the Cayman Islands to stop criminal investigations of money laundering, a Justice Department that makes Al Capone look like a choir boy, well, it's just a joke. And so even if Rupert Murdoch's a tyrant and involved in low-level corruption, that's nothing compared to the real mafia that's trying to destroy his media empire. Because if they can bring down Fox News, who's gotten rich as posing as conservatives and libertarians and patriots, they're taking down the head so they can go after the rest of the real patriotic media after them. So I'm telling you, Rupert Murdoch, and I know your people watch, Roger Ailes, all of you, you got to release all the fast and furious info, the drug running info now. Doesn't matter if Bush was involved previously. This is about survival. You've got to go after them on all their other crimes, the money laundering, or you're done. You're not going to play games with these guys. They want you in prison for paying off police for, info on people and wiretaps. And I'm not saying your crimes are good. You've been caught doing it. But compared to running guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment, I'm sorry, tyrants cannot carry out justice against somebody. May 10 guilty men go free, that one innocent man not go to prison. You cannot get justice from this Justice Department. It's like having the devil run heaven or something. It's like saying Superman works for Lex Luthor. It's an oxymoron. It's butt backwards. It's creepy, man. I tell you, I got called about a year ago for a news article they were doing in their watchdog by one of the chief editors and writers over at Media Matters. And I said, listen, out of the gates, you guys work for George Soros and the White House. And the guy started laughing and saying, that's ridiculous. So I pulled up in front of me on the computer federal filings for nonprofits. And I showed him where Soros was giving millions, and the guy started laughing at me. I guess he thought I was the general public that just buys whatever crap they shovel over at Snopes and Media Matters. I mean, I could set up some group called Media Analyst Incorporated or Media, there is that in the real world, no connection to the real group. I'm just, Media Expert Analysis Gold Level, whatever baloney name, we're absolutely nonpartisan or dedicated to the truth. And then I could tell you Easter bunnies were real or whatever. I mean, it's just amazing what comes out of these people. And it is creepy to know they're after me. I mean, it's super creepy. So stand with us, folks, because we stand against this guy. Okay, continuing here. Global media promotes Syrian activists begging for military intervention. Paul Watson called me and said, I'm going to do this article on this guy today. And I said, yeah, I've seen him on CIA 360 with Anderson Astor Cooper, the Astor heir on there. Or is that the guy that runs Daily Caller that's the Astor heir, or he's one of the other big heirs? The point is that I've seen this guy on different news channels, and in one take he's like, we are being attacked. I am Habib. Save us in Syria from what Assad is doing. And then I cut to another clip, and he's like, oh, yes, we're here. Everything is under complete bombardment. I mean, he's an actor from England, and so you can't believe any of it. It's like, they say Assad has killed no one. He has killed 40,000 today. I saw it. And then they cut to him on another show. He's like, I am here to tell you Assad is getting you. I mean, they can't even have their actor. We all know from Team America they hire actors to ladle out BS. It's like, it's not about being gay, Gary. I mean, they can't even have an actor who sticks with the same voice in this whole deal. So we're going to do some video work on that in the next few days. We're going to pull those clips. But he's just begging for the UN invasion, which is now the Arab League's begging for and is all being lined up. And again, I'm not a fan of Assad, but I'm not a fan of Al-Qaeda either, who they're putting in charge there like they did in Libya. I mean, how dumb do these people think we are? America, America, oh yeah, fighting for your freedom. TSA sticking the hands down your pants, groping grandma's underwear. Oh yeah, microwave ovens, IRS takes your house with no due process. Well, that's not America. Is that funny? I should actually record my own America, but actually write it up well and not just go off the top of my head. It's not about being gay, Gary. Look, I hadn't watched Team America in like 6-7 years, and I made the mistake of getting the not rated version and putting it in this Saturday as I was jogging on the treadmill for an hour and 50 minutes. And let me tell you, not a family movie. I've never seen puppets do this. I never thought of puppets doing things like this. It's ridiculous. Oh, Hans Bixby, come on in. Get me Alec Baldwin. Get me Sean Penn. They have both been very useful to me. So, Kim Jong-il almost sounds like some kind of Elmer Fudd type character. Be very careful. I've been hunting for wabbits. All right, I'm digressing here. I apologize. This is Infowars Nightly News. This is what happens when you're teleprompter free. That's why the globalists make sure all the corporate whore media is all teleprompter fed. Police union demands info on 9/11 toxic debris. Well, I mean, Christina Todd Whitman admitted years later she was ordered to say the air was safe to breathe. Of course, I was on the air the day after 9/11 saying, get real respirators down there. It doesn't matter if they say it's safe to breathe. That building's made of asbestos. And, of course, now thousands of police and first responders have gotten cancer. All the police dogs died 5-6 years ago. And New York City's police union is demanding more information about effects of toxic debris from 9/11 attacks. But I thought I was a conspiracy theory. I mean, the government told me it was safe, and they never lie. Now, let's get into the eugenics portion of the evening, because that's what runs this whole system, is the globalists playing God. That is a good graphic. I hadn't seen that. A sperm with a head of a skull swimming towards the New World Order's global death or democide. I know, but coming up with that, I don't think anybody's ever put a skull on the head of a sperm. It's not about sperm, Gary. All right. I apologize. It's a family show, but this is just too much. And you know what? I'm getting more and more gallows humor here, because if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, I'm pretty freaked out right now. All right. This is just what came across my desk today without even looking. Without even looking. Let me just read you the headlines, and I'll go through them each in order. In 1984, a World Bank report contemplated sterilization vans in camps, and they said once they bankrupted everybody, they want a post-industrial world, they'll have social workers that come and say, if you're poor, you can't have your kids, and then you're all going to be sterilized, and they're going to put you in camps as well. I mean, you can go to my website, go to Infowars.com, read the article, and link to the World Bank, who has this posted and is proud of it. Male and female sterilization IUD can be made more readily available through mobile facilities such as sterilization vans in Thailand, or periodic camps such as vasectomy and other surgeries they have in India. And of course, it turned out the forced sterilization of India was going on at that time. You want U.S. taxpayer money? Got to get sterilized. And again, a lot of folks are like, well, good, to get rid of those brown people. What comes around goes around. This stuff's going on here as well, through your water. Oh, and we have some articles on that. In fact, let me skip over the Daily Mail article first and go to the next piece. Michigan is breeding poverty. And the Detroit News calls for sterilants to be added to the water. Since the national attention is on birth control, here's my idea, like it's your idea you just got. If we want to fight poverty, reduce violent crime, and bring down our embarrassing dropout rate, we should swap contraceptives for fluoride in Michigan's drinking water. Well, let me give you a little newsflash. Fluoride does reduce fertility and does cause DNA and chromosomal damage. And, of course, we have the White House science czar, David Rockefeller. They've already been putting it in the water for a very long time. And it actually came out that they're now in England and areas of the U.S. giving girls Norplant under the skin without parental consent, 12 and 13-year-olds. And telling the kids, don't tell your parents we did this. And they're giving them vaccines in California, as you know, without telling the parents and telling the kids not to tell them. Think the government's out of control yet? It's going to get a lot worse. But here's the Daily Mail article, and they're reporting on a Sunday Times of London report of top eugenicist. President of Yale was a fanatic eugenicist in the worst meaning of the word. And during World War II and then after, during the Cold War, had emergency relocation plans for the elite, Aryan elite of the British academia to get them to the United States. But they would only evacuate the wonderful bloodlines of those folks, according to them. These governments. And I don't believe a damn thing they say. Excuse the French. Okay, let me go ahead and continue here with the next report. Investigation. Media Matters conspires with White House to influence news. Tucker Carlson's Daily Caller came up with this information. That's like announcing that the sun is yellow and water is blue. But yes, it's true. George Soros and the White House, according to the documents they've gotten, completely run Media Matters, who poses as a nonpartisan pressuring Israel to give sanctions more time. Whether Iran did this or not, it's all very, very suspect when the neocons and others are calling for false flag provocations. That we even have the head of national security, Mr. Clapper, putting out a policy report saying a provocation to blame on Iran would be useful. This from our own government that staged the events that led us to Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin, Operation Ajax, and 53 to overthrow Iran, staging terror attacks. And then, of course, Israel attacking the USS Liberty, to blame it on the Egyptians, and Israel bombing U.S. Hotels and movie theaters in Egypt, to blame it on Egypt. I mean, who knows what's really going on here? We'd be schmucks, to use a Yiddish term, if we just didn't look at Israel to be the possible culprit in these terror attacks. Doesn't mean it couldn't be Iran. We're not big fans of the authoritarian rule of the mullahs either. I'm kind of like the founding fathers. I don't trust government. I don't like government. I don't like any of the al-Qaeda terror groups to stage terror attacks inside Iran. And we've had the Brookings Institute and others say a false flag would be great to be blamed on Iran. We've had the Rand Corporation talking about it. And sure enough, Israel accuses Iran of bombings in Georgia and India, while Iran rejects the claims. The violence came as a result of comments by Israeli officials have raised concerns Israel might be preparing an imminent strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. U.S. and other Western countries have been Fox News is reporting it. We told you this was coming. Israel has admitted that they're hiring